Hi there, everybody, and welcome back to the AVFC Faithful podcast, joined by Dan and James. And we are finally back talking about Villa games. I have found a pen, which means I'm focused for this episode. And speaking of pens, how's your week been, James?
Yeah, it's been all right, thanks. It's well, the miss has been off ill. Everyone around me's ill, and I seem
Yeah.
fine. So fingers crossed. And the Villa are back at the weekend, so no complaining there.
Is it strange how we both have the exact same life? It's exactly the same as me. Mrs. is ill, family is ill. Somehow I'm dodging COVID. Like it's just like it's incoming Douglas Luiz tackles in midfield to start a counter attack. I'm trying to block it, but as with Douglas Luiz, you can't avoid him forever. And we have differing views, don't we? I think you don't mind the internationals too much, if I'm right. You quite like watching England.
Yeah, I don't mind watching England. I have a very different view to a lot of people in England, but it's not like we don't get into that. But I
No.
much prefer club football. Like it's
Yeah.
always club football over internationals, but internationals are something different. So, what my perfect ideal scenario is you just have a normal season and then you'd have an international season. Two different things where they don't interrupt each other because it bugs me having the breaks, especially like like the start of the season when you have like September, October, November breaks. It pisses
Yeah.
me off. You
No,
know,
I agree. I think internationals are very important. I think we need to play them, and yeah, I agree with you. My only issue is where they are and when they are, but again, they got to be played. I don't watch them, but people can watch them. I'd watch them if I was going. I understand the appeal, but I just find other things to do. To be honest, I sort of see it as a weekend. Gives me some time to reflect and think. And I mean, what more to think on than I guess what we'll do is we'll just chat generally about our start to the season because we haven't really had a low down assessment. I know we're only 8 games in. If I got that correct, it
that's
feels more because obviously we're playing in the Conference League. I mean, we're 4 games into there technically. Um, oh, it's been. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I'm actually really happy with the start of the season. Like
yeah,
happy,
yeah,
um, which is strange I think to say when I think with the two of the losses we got, or three I guess if you count the one in the Europa Conference League as well, felt worse at the time than what they actually are looking back in retrospect, didn't they?
yeah. I think when you look back at your first game of the season away at St James's Park and you get hammered 5-1. I think to be sitting here now, pretty happy and we're fifth in the table and
Yeah.
we've got points on the board in Europe. We have gone out of the League Cup, which was frustrating, but all things considered, with the injuries as well, it's just I think it's a really commendable start to the season. And just thinking about that Newcastle game now, it just feels so long ago. But at the time, I think we all over like blew it out of proportion a bit because you watch it back and we weren't that bad
No.
up until the third goal went in, and then that was it. Floodgates opened. We missed Mings obviously, and the team looked like how you'd expect it to, and it loses their main leader.
Yeah.
And then since then, I think you can say Concer's took on more of a leadership role, and I think McGinn's becoming more and more of a captain every game he plays, even if he doesn't play reasonably well. He has that sort of captain's feel about him, and I don't think a performance encapsulate that more than Wolves.
No.
Because I mean, I don't personally see it as a derby. Like, yeah, it's a local game, and there's a bit of talk around it and stuff. And you sort of saw that in the tackles that were going in that game. But John McGinn was up for that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he was almost dangerously up for it because he could have, on another day, he could have maybe got sent off with how he was
100%.
bouncing around. But that's what you want from the captain. In those tough environments, you want him to be up for the game, and we're going to need that a lot. I tweeted the other day the schedule that's coming up now over the next couple of periods of fixtures is mental. So we're going to need leaders, and we're going to need the squad.
Yeah, it is. It's going to get really busy, isn't it? I mean, December looks for a footballer vile. For us, great because it's non-stop Villa. But
Mhm.
I think what was it you put? Was it God? I need to see it now. Was it 7 games in 21 days?
It was something like that, yeah.
Ridiculous. I mean, it takes up to the next international break in November, doesn't it? We're pummeled through.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
December schedule, like we've got City and Arsenal are back to back.
Yeah.
which I think that might have happened. That happened last season, didn't it? Because that was part of the three
Yes.
game.
Yeah. It was part of our loss streak.
Yeah, we've also got Spurs. I think just after we come back from the November international break, we've got United in there. We've got who else have we got? We've got Legia Warsaw again
Yeah.
in that time, and yeah, it's just it's crazy. I'll try and find how many games I've put down there, but it's just the schedule just comes up thick and fast during this time. As you say, for us, it's great, but like when you're a footballer, you sort of need to be managed a lot better around that
Yeah.
time. And it's 6 games in the next 21 days, and then the 10 games in 34 days from the November when we come back after the November
Ridiculous.
international break up until the 30th of December. 10 games in like 5 weeks. I mean, like that's like 2 games a week consistently.
Yeah.
As I say, like we're going to need to use the squad, and there's a lot of talk around rotation and over rotation in some of the cups, but like if it comes to it and you're playing your best 11 consistently and an integral player gets injured, you'd then be saying, we should have been rotating more. It's such a hard balance to find.
Mm.
I mean, God forbid either Watkins or Concert, gets injured,
Yeah.
because I think they're probably two of the most pivotal in terms of depth. I don't think you can't replace them as such.
No.
I like Duran, I like Carlos, but they're not on the same level. So it just yeah, squad management's important now.
Yeah. I think it was a bit of it was a reminder of what like the way we play and the way we're going moving forward. It's not a system where you go from finishing seventh, eighth in the league last year to then finishing second the next year. It's a slow burn process. We haven't got all the players we need to yet. We've lost players that, like you've mentioned, are so vital to the way we play as well. But the important thing is that the players that were performing last year to the high level outside of those, your Martinez, Konza, Watkins, McGinn towards the end of last season, Jacob Ramsey when he comes back in, the fact that they're keeping their performances at the level they are is so vital. It speaks volumes the fact that Ollie Watkins was up for Player of the Month, gets his England call up. When he does, it shows the impact that he's having. I mean, you've got to have a really good impact to be a Villa player going into the England squad. We won't get too into it, but you do. And he is, and he deserves it. And obviously, he deserved to be scoring the goal he did. It wasn't going in, so he deserves it. That's the important thing.
I
So
love that
that's
goal.
yeah. I mean, it hurts because it reminds me of so much, but
It's a
that's
perfect striker's goal.
yeah. Yes, but most important thing is everyone that was commenting, if he doesn't go for it and it hits the post and goes out,
It's not going in.
it's
That
not
is not
going
going
in.
in. That's 100%
No,
that's not going in. I don't
no,
even think it's in the post, and if it was, it was just a whisker on it.
yeah,
If I was Jack, I'd be saying, yeah, I'll put that in as a cross. I'd be
yeah,
taking that glory to
yeah.
be
But that
honest.
is a brilliant ball across because it
Yeah,
was
exactly.
in
But
effect.
yeah, I think in general, touching on Watkins there, I thought he had a good game on that when he played. It was a couple of moments where I think he was a bit unaware, but other than that, he's different to Kane in the sense that he picks it up and he drives, and he was
Yeah,
willing to commit defenders, and then he's got that poacher's instinct to be at the back post for that goal. So
yeah.
yeah, it was good to see.
Which is ironic, really, because I think there's been a couple of times where we've spoken this season where I've actually said those are the sort of balls that he wasn't totally going in for Villa at times. It's like my only main criticism of Ollie Watkins has ever been really that he doesn't sometimes throw himself at the balls that go directly across goal. Sometimes he's like a step behind.
Yeah,
Benteke used to do that all the time, like all the he dropped to the edge of the box, and you're thinking from for who you are, Codger did
yeah,
it as well always dropping out, finding the space rather than just attacking the area.
yeah,
I think it's one of those things that you don't actually see as much from strikers. You see that more so from wingers and midfielders coming in. They seem to bomb into the edge.
yeah.
Um,
I'd probably say that the last person I can think of for us that was like that was Tammy. Tammy was always on
yeah,
the end of the tap-ins, and
yeah,
that's why he got so many goals.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think the most important thing for me was it wasn't just the results; it was the performances were still matching. Obviously, we had a couple of games where we were starting slower, and I think McGinn came out and admitted that he was, struggling to get used to, and is now getting used to the Thursday Sundays, for example. And for a lot of them, it is new. But then you've got players like Diaby, for example, who's used to playing multiple games in a week, and sort of it isn't impacting him as much. So Yeah, and to come out of that part of the season, I think the main worry is, I think we've brushed on it already, is the injuries. I think that's the actual only real concern around the club at the moment is, it's less so the injuries are mounting up. It's more so the injuries aren't coming back as at the time we think they are. Moreno being set back, for example, and obviously Ramsey effectively not really coming back. Um,
Yeah,
that's the only thing that I think is really disappointing, but that's the uncontrollables in football. That's the nature of the game. Um, got to learn to adapt, got to learn to overcome. I would assume Moreno is possibly going to come through next game on Sunday.
well, they said he was, close to beat training with the team again, didn't they?
Yeah,
So I think over the international break, if he's recovered a bit more, then you'd like to think he's part of the squad. But at this point, with how the injuries have been when they've come back, yeah, I'd rather give him a couple more weeks
yeah,
leeway in that sense. Don't rush him into it, and it's just so annoying that JJ's laid off again with. Well, we don't really know the extent of it yet, do we? It just sort of
no,
sounds like it's like medium term sort of
6 weeks,
injury.
wasn't it? They reckon.
Yeah, so it's one of those because players come back obviously quicker than expected sometimes. But I think if we're lucky, he comes back before Christmas. I think that'd be really lucky. But I don't think it still baffles me. Like I don't think he's quite rated as much as he should be in some parts of our fan base still. And I don't think it's
Yeah,
like a. I don't think they don't think he's good enough. It's just I don't think they see consistently that he performs, whether it's defensively or attacking. I mean, just look at his output at the end of last season. Like, it was a massive, massive part of getting us into Europe in big games. So,
yeah,
it's more his tactical understanding. I think that goes a bit unnoticed. Was it Jacob Tanswell that did an article on him for the
it was.
Athletic?
Yeah,
And like how he said about how his positioning is almost always spot on because he's allowing players to run into the space or he's covering as well. So that's a big miss for us. And when he's back properly, I think it will have a really big effect on the team.
definitely. And when we were watching, a group of us watching, obviously the Wolves game, and there was a couple of times where I think the main concern really was when, for example, like Luca Dean was putting in like balls from a weird angle and sort of like low hanging, sort of like swooping balls over. Um, my brother-in-law was actually saying to me, he was like, "That see those areas are where you expect to see like Moreno would take it straight to the byline and then put it down low across." And obviously that was such a, I mean, it was basically the staple of our game last season was getting it right down that byline with either him or Jacob Ramsey and then getting in the box that way, whether it be dribbling in or passing in.
Yeah,
Um, Rather not me saying that we win the game if we have Moreno there. It's just those are the types of bits where you would expect to see that Unai would have probably changed that, especially towards the end of the game where he does his sort of
yeah,
Luca Digne swap, his Trezeguet El Ghazi swap um, for the two left backs and sort of changes that avenue up. But again, it's an uncontrollable aspect of football. We can't really worry about it too much. What we can sort of think about really is the fact that as a sort of general overall statement, we're very comfortable now. And whilst we are technically bottom of the Conference League group, we're second, and it's in our hands. And we mentioned it after the game that I think it was that first win is going to be what carries us on. I think you need to break the ice in Europe, and you need to get used to it, and certain players need to get on board. As soon as that happens, you build the momentum up, and certain games take precedent. I mean, the Premier League games we have coming up are they're not no there's no easy fixture in the Premier League. I will say that now there's no easy fixture unless you're playing Blues. But apart obviously we have got games where you'd expect to maybe see a bit more sort of evenness and rotation between the two. Like for example, Luton. We're playing Luton, we got Forest. You'd expect to see maybe some changes there where we kind of accept an evens based squad for both games, if you get what I mean,
yeah,
rather than full strength Premier League rotating in Conference League, sort of both rotated almost. But I guess the most important thing is we do chat obviously about Sunday's game. Um, I mean, we've taken to already calling it the Fortress, which is fine by me. By my maths, this would make 12 if we win this game. 12 games unbeaten at Villa Park in the league.
yeah. I
Uh,
think that's right.
I mean, how we've got to this point is unbelievable to me. I think we need to address that first of all. How long have we wanted Villa Park to be the place where
Yeah,
I know we've always struggled for away anyway. It feels like we've never been the club that dominates away ever.
yeah,
Um, but it's been so vital to us that everyone enjoys going to Villa Park. At the end of the day, that's your fan base. That's where you got all your punters going, spending your money. You want to keep people coming. How do you do that? By winning games
yeah.
and great football on show whilst winning games, and hopefully another one on Sunday. But this isn't our favourite fixture, is it, James?
It's not. I prefer us playing at Villa Park against them to
Mm,
at their place because I absolutely hate that place.
yep.
But yeah, it's just I just don't like playing West Ham. I don't like playing Wolves. It's just they're a team that I think are perfect for us as a bogey team. Like I think they have things that can trouble us. Like I think my biggest worry this weekend is set pieces because
Yeah.
I think the midfield battle will be interesting. I think it could be quite even because they're a strong midfield, and you know that they don't lack technical ability, but you know we've got a really good midfield as well. But if they're quick on the counter and they get a couple of set pieces, we know how dangerous they are against any team with them, and I think it'll be a big test for Pau Torres on Sunday because coming up against any of their forward line that they are even Bowen's got strength to him as well
Yeah.
as his pace. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough game, but yeah, the fact that Villa Park is a fortress now, it's crazy because when Emery came in, was his first game was at Villa Park with
Yeah.
against United. But then after that, I think our away form was better than our home form for a little period of time, and then that switched back around, and I think we found a balance since then, really. And as you say, like with 12, there'll be 12 games unbeaten if we win or draw on
Yeah.
Sunday at Villa Park in the league. So you know, if you say if you was to win all your games at home in a season, that's like that gets you what over 50 points.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
yeah. Yeah. 57 points, right? No,
yeah, so you know
54.
that's
Whatever.
a lot of points in general
Yeah.
already. And obviously we're not going to win every game at home, and we'll win games away as well. So I think if you're really good at home, you know you've got a really great foundation then.
Yeah.
And when you've got Emery as your manager, you know I think you go into any fixture with confidence, don't you? That's what I mean. Like as much as I don't like playing West Ham, you just feel like he's got something up his sleeve that'll be like the Brighton game. You know,
Yeah.
where we can just be clinical and have the perfect tactical plan. So we'll see.
Yeah, three-piece suit Unai is currently rocking around, which is a delight to watch. And yeah, it's I mean, it's David Moyes, isn't it? He was a nightmare for us when he was Everton boss. He's a nightmare for us now. I mean, he even beat us when he was United manager, and you know that that says a lot. So, um, but again, it's a new feel to everything, isn't it? So, it's just I think the aspect for me that I worry about most is it's less so the other team at times. It's more so the fact that we don't start slowly again. Because I think the problem is more so is that we've been lucky with the teams we play against that while we start slow, their quality at times hasn't been enough to start like putting the domination over us.
Yeah,
Strange way of saying dominating us. Um, but do you know what I mean? Like so, like we start slow against Liverpool, which means they used into their groove, and then that was it. That it's hard to then take them out of that.
yeah,
Palace, we started slow, but Palace don't have too much of a groove into them that we could afford to let that happen at times.
yeah,
Wolves as well, we just can't with a team like West Ham. West Ham are in a rich vein of form. Brilliant football cliche there. Um, you can't really afford to let them settle in and treat it like it is the London Stadium, for example. And
yeah,
I don't think they will. I don't. When as much as we moan as fans that our players aren't being picked for Europe, it does help because they are fresher. I mean, I wanted Ollie Watkins to play on Friday and not yesterday because now he's fresh and he's trained in a
yeah,
professional outlet and he's trained with high level professionals and he's coming back in.
yeah,
So I still think it'll be a good game. It'll be interesting to see particularly how we start in the forwards area. Because it's always interesting to see the rotation between Bailey and Zaniolo mainly, especially with Ramsey being out. The smirk is worrying me now.
I just thinking about Zaniolo and how crazy that's been over the past few days.
Oh well, I was going to make a reference to the fact that we might see him and Paqueta go up against each other, and
What were the odds on that?
what there we go. But yeah, I mean, I get lost with all this stuff. I got lost with it with Ivan Toney, right? And that baffled me, and then that happened, and then this Paqueta thing happened, and we still don't know what's going on with that. All we know is he didn't go to Man City for it, and now it's happening to one of our own. I see
It's,
Tonali's obviously getting a good treatment about it. Obviously, he's an addict, and we should feel sorry for him.
well, it
Um,
sounds like he's going to get a really decent of a ban at the moment. I think recent reports that said that he actually bet on football. So we'll see what happens with that because
football
some
matches he played in as well, was it?
it, there's different reports. Some say that he did bet on Milan when he was playing there,
Right.
but you know, you have to say because obviously the amount of reports that come out on social media is crazy. But some of them are saying it'll be a year's ban or something, which would be crazy. But apparently he
Look at
was,
Newcastle spending all that money as well.
uh, he was apparently a main person in the whole betting thing. So
Yeah, I did
we'll
see
see.
those. Yeah, but well, I mean, keep my Zaniolo's name out of your mouth, hopefully, for the next few bits, Sky Italia or whatever it is, because um I love the bloke and I like watching him, and I got to address that actually because I've got the pen up and I've got to address it. After the Wolves game, I saw some horrific slander about Zaniolo, and it baffles me. The bloke has been here less amount of time than most players get, and he got thrown straight in there. And all he's done is perform well, tried everything, it just doesn't come off. Weird that because he hasn't adapted yet, but he looks like he's half adapted already. So I will not stick for his slander at all. And someone said to me, "Oh, well, Bailey doesn't get away with it. Bailey has had a little bit longer if we give him a little, And to also to be fair, we Bailey's been full of pretty much praise, especially on this podcast of recent.
I
Um,
think he's done pretty well this season compared to. I
especially
think when you
compared to his
compare it to
last.
the past couple of seasons, I think Bailey's improved quite a bit. And the way I'd put it is he's a really useful squad piece until
Yeah,
you get someone that has a better output,
yeah,
and that's not exactly easy to come across. But for me, that in that sense, he's important to us with that. And Zaniolo is just I think he's just a few games away from being really in his groove, and I like what he offers. I mean, yeah, he takes a couple of extra touches when he doesn't need to at times, or he doesn't play the ball when he needs to. But then he's unlucky that he hasn't scored about 3 worldies
yeah,
and had an assist to the season against Palace and stuff.
yeah,
He's got a lot of quality, and when he hits form, I think he's going to be a real sensation to watch.
definitely. And it's an exciting time. And let's also not forget to mention we've got players in areas that we were worried about that have come into form as well. Cash looks much better at this stage of the season than we thought he would, and Luca Dean as well, which is really important because, like we said, we haven't really got the cover for him. So, and as much as he can do a job there, we don't really want to be putting Konza out at right back. So, fingers crossed that covers on as well because it just solves an issue that we didn't think we'd have to worry about. An issue we thought we had to worry about, but we don't have to, so we can focus on the ones we didn't expect.
Yeah.
That came out eventually. Um, I okay, I'm gonna have to tell you to a score prediction.
Um, you know what? I'm backing him again. I'm going to go 1-0 win to the Villa. Um, I'm going to say Zaniolo goal scorer.
Prepare to be booked, yeah.
Yeah. But
Nice.
yeah, I think when I was looking at the next 4 fixtures in the league, I was looking at a minimum of 10 points if we're serious about challenging for the top 5 or 6. So what we've got Forest, Luton, Fulham, and obviously West Ham on Sunday. So 10 points minimum. I mean, 12 points would be incredible, but you know how the league is. It's really competitive, and I think there'll be a
Yeah,
little slip somewhere, especially we've got 2 games in Europe in that time as well, I
yeah.
think. So yeah, I mean, a draw wouldn't be that bad on Sunday, but if we're serious, I think you've got to be targeting a win. So yeah, 1-0 to the Villa.
Well, 2-0 for me, and I'm going for a Watkins double. I think
Oh,
his rich vein of form continues. So unlucky not to score that header at the end against Wolves as well.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that continues. yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. I mean, what we live for in it. It's just watching the Villa play. Um, I sure I've got other things like a wife and stuff, but
Not so-
the Villa's what we're here for, really. So
It is.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Just watch Don Unai with his three-piece on at Villa Park and have a nice little shake hands. Gary O'Neill's a pussy. With David Moyes, a nice shake of hands after we smash them 3-0 would be quite nice. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And they're back. That's all I could think of now. They're back. If we're in the long run now, it's going to be Thursday tomorrow, and that's it. That's technically the weekend's begun. So
Yeah.
that's
We're
it.
only we're the only game on Sunday as well, aren't we, in the Premier League?
Yeah,
So
we are the Super Sunday, mate. That is us.
it should be complete coverage of us.
It will probably be coverage of
Man
Manchester
United.
United.
Yeah, it always is.
This is Manchester United.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're playing on they're
Saturday
playing
night, Sheffield United, 8 o'clock kickoff.
yeah, so you can guarantee it's going to be a draw, and they're going to talk about that for an hour. So yeah, let's prepare
Yeah.
ourselves.
Where does Ten Hag go from here? Oh, Villa have kicked off. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, yeah, we don't.
Bye-bye.
We're fed up of hearing about 10 hours, so we're drafting that.
Eric, 10 months in the job is what I'm calling him. Lovely stuff. Well, welcome back. We hope you're happy to have us back. We'll be back next week for our post-match analysis of our win against West Ham and our pre-match against AZ Alkmaar,
Yeah,
which I'm sure has been pronounced wrong already. And
actually, didn't. I think it's RZ. It's weird. It's an A, but I think they've pronounced it RZ Alkmaar. Of course.
how dare they have their own pronunciations?
I know. Yeah, the cheek of it.
Yeah, well, I'm also the cheek of watching everyone fly out to Amsterdam next Wednesday. Really, that's going to be more of a kicker, but you
I'm
know,
so jealous of him.
it's all right. We've got each other, James. That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a substitute I am for the red light district. Right, so if you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit the like button, smash subscribe button, and hit that red light district bell if you need to. We'll be back next week for more episodes, and of course, make sure you hit the backlog of stuff we've got. We've got some great stuff, tactical analysis, we player analysis, tactical analysis, and a bit more tactical analysis is back on the page. So until next time, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.